सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. We have completed up to 4th sloka in chapter 8. We have a quick recap of what we have completed and then go forward. Arjuna posed 7 questions. Krishna Paramatma answered Arjuna's question very briefly in 2 verses. He answered about Brahma, Karma, Adhyatmam, Adibhutam, Adidaivam, Adiyajnam. Krishna Paramatma explained about Brahman as Paramam Aksharam Brahma. That is Chaitanyam in the macro. Samashti Chaitanyam. That is the Chaitanyam in the macro level. That is Paramam Aksharam Brahma. Adhyatmam is Jivatma. The same Chaitanyam, when you look at the Vyashti level, that is Jivatma level, that is Adhyatma. The Chaitanyam, when you look at the cosmic person level or Samashti level, that is Brahma. Karma is Srishti Karanam. Srishti Karana means by actions only you get papam or punyam depending on what type of actions one chooses. So it is the karanam for the next janma. So karma is the Srishti Karanam. Adibhutam is the perishing jagat, perishing world. Brahma was talked about as imperishable thing. Here, Adibhutam is a perishing world, ever-changing world. Adidaivam is Hiranyagarbha, Samashti Sushma Sariram. Adiyajnam is Iswara. Adiyajnam in the body is Prajna. And then he wanted to introduce the topic Upasanam through this Iswara Swaranam topic. As a byproduct of Iswara Smaranam, Paramatma wants to introduce Saguna Iswara Upasana. This is the topic which comes Prasangavasat. And the meditation of Lord with various attributes as described in the scriptures can be meditated upon. And it is considered very important spiritual sadhana. This Saguna Upasana can give 2 benefits depending on what motive or attitude with which it is done. Broadly, Saguna Upasanam is divided into 2 types. Sakama Saguna Upasanam, other one is Nishkama Saguna Upasanam. Saguna Upasanam is meant for material benefits. Material benefits belong to Ihaloka, this loka, or this loka like health, wealth, status, and so on. I can practice Upasana and above all to accomplish siddhis, the miraculous powers. Upasana can be practiced. That's why you will find many upasakas are siddhas. They say, I am Anjaneya upasaka, I am Devi upasaka, I am such Deva upasaka, like that. As a result, this person gets an extraordinary powers, like the capacity to predict the future. In fact, many people go there because they have got a particular power. They can say when your business will improve, when your business will improve, when you will flourish, and things like this. So, in Puranas, we see these kind of siddhis. Hundreds of his siddhis are enumerated in our Puranas, in Bhagavatam, and etc. There is yet another Ishvara Upasanam which comes under Nishkama Saguna Ishvara Upasanam. The practice of Saguna Ishvara Upasanam without expecting any material benefit. It is purely meant for spiritual benefit. One devotee says, O Lord, I am remembering you not for artha, not for kama, not for punya. I am not interested in I am not at all interested in any one of them, because I know they are all perishable in nature. I have got only one goal, that is the spiritual goal called moksha. I have got only one goal, that is my spiritual upliftment. God Himself is my goal. I want to become one with God. Ishvara Aikyam is my goal. So this Viragi Bhakta becomes a Nishkama Upasaka. This Nishkama Upasaka can take different courses or direction. One direction is he practices Nishkama Upasana for a long time, which is Saguna Ishvara Upasana. Now, having practiced this Upasanam, he becomes very well qualified for Nirguna Ishvara Upasana in this Janma itself. So he can approach a guru and seek the knowledge. The second option is the person continues Saguna Upasana, he is not confident of coming to Nirgunam, or he is allergic to Nirgunam, because Nirgunam means attributeless. He doesn't understand. If a person is allergic to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam, he continues Saguna Upasana throughout the life. And at the time of death, he remembers Saguna Ishvara and prays to the Lord. O Lord, I want moksha and nothing else. And as a result of such upasana, he will go to Brahmaloka and get jnanam through Chaturmukha Brahma. Instead of gaining Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam here, he gets the Jnanam there. And it becomes Jivan Mukta and thereafter Videha Mukta. Now, Krishna Paramatma is going to deal about this Krama Mukti in this particular chapter. We will see that more in detail. Saguna Ishvara Upasana means meditation upon God with attributes. Saguna means with attributes. Saguna Upasana means meditation of God which can be taken as either Rama Upasanam, Krishna Upasanam or Devi Upasanam with many attributes. By attribute means, we mean the personality, a particular human form, a particular color, number of heads, number of hands, and so on. So, Saguna Upasana can be first classified into two types based on the motive. They are Sakama Saguna Upasana and Nishkama Upasana. This is what we have seen earlier. Sakama Upasana is the practice of all worldly benefits other than the spiritual goals. Nishkama Upasana is the meditation which is exclusively utilized for spiritual growth, by which one acquires the required qualification, and therefore, and thereafter he goes to a guru and gains the self-knowledge. Nishkama Upasana, Nishkama Saguna Upasana can be divided into two types. One person practices Nishkama Upasana for acquiring qualification and for entering into Nirguna Jnana. Because that is what we have seen. You should get qualified before you come to Jnana. Aguna Ishvara is only empirical, Vyavhara Satyam. If you have to put it very strongly, it is Midya only. Nirguna Ishvara, which was called as Paraprakriti in the 7th chapter, is the ultimate reality. We have to come to the ultimate reality, the Nirguna Ishvara. Without that, no moksha is possible. Therefore, a person can follow Saguna Upasana and prepare the mind very well. Then switch over from Saguna Ishvara Upasana to Nirguna Jnana. Upasana to Jnana Yoga, by which we mean Vedanta Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. Practice Nishkama Upasana, acquire the required qualifications. Then switch over to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam and attain moksha in this life itself, which is called Sadhyo Mukti or Jivan Mukti. Sadhyo Mukti means instant liberation, like fast food, instant coffee. We get instant moksham. We get instant moksham by Sadhyo Mukti. The one course of sadhana a person can take to, this is one course of sadhana a person can take to. That is, by Saguna Nishkama Ishvara Upasana, he gets qualified and then enter into Nirguna Ishvara Upasana or Nirguna Ishvara Jnana. This is the course. There is another alternative method. What is that? A person of Saguna Upasana afterwards, he has to come to Nirgunam, but somehow he finds it not able to switch over to Nirguna Ishvara because it is not that easy. You can visualize Lord with attributes. You can visualize Lord with attributes. How can you visualize Lord without attributes? Without Sabda, without Sparsa, Rupa, without Rasa, and so on. In the 12th chapter, Paramatma himself tells this. Klesodikatarastesham avyakta saktachetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkam dehavadbhiravapyate. Appreciation and inquiry into Nirguna Ishvara requires very, very subtle Sushma Buddhi. Sushma Buddhyaya. This is something like razor's blade. So you should have the sharpness like a razor's blade, like a razor's blade. One should have the sharpness of the mind like razor's blade. If mind is not ready for Nirguna Ishvara, it will not appeal to that person. Then what should that person do? No doubt he wants moksha. No doubt he wants to become one with God. He does not have interest in any other material goal. He is Nishkama Purusha. He is a Mumukshu Purusha. But his mind is not ready for Nirguna Vichara. Then what should that person do? Krishna Paramatma says that there is a solution. Keep your fire of enthusiasm or desire for liberation intact. Maintain your Nishkamatvam and Vairagyam. Very well. And continue Saguna Upasana throughout the life. One need not come to Nirguna Vichara. Such a person can continue to be attached to Saguna Ishvara like Rama, Krishna, or Devi and so on. Ganapati, whomever he likes. He is a Nishkama Mumukshu Upasaka. Because of this intense desire for Ishvara Prapti, a person will be able to successfully continue, and naturally at the time of death, such a person is going to remember what he values more. At the time of death, a person is going to remember only what is the most valuable for him. So he remembers the favorite god and then goes to the loka of that god. He gets the knowledge from that deity and gets liberation. Nishkama Upasaka can follow either of the method, that is, he can take up Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam or continue the Upasana throughout the life. These are the two options based on his mindset, the mental makeup. And the 8th chapter is going to specialize in Krama Mukti. That means it is meant for those upasakas who do not come to the Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam, that is the self-knowledge, who wants to continue with Sakama Ishvara Upasana without any desire. So this is one unique character of this chapter, Krama Mukti. Whereas 7th, 9th, 10th and 11th and 12th, they talk about the Sadhyo Mukti, that is moksha by self-knowledge. So Paramatma says, do not postpone liberation, because we do not know when death will come. With this background, we have to study these verses. The 5th verse, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samudbhavam yati nastyatra samsayah. Yaha cha antakale mam eva smaran kalevaram muktva prayati saha mat bhavam yati atra samsayaha na asti. Muktva kalevaram, dropping the body, antakalecha, at the time of death, one departs, remembering me alone. So, remembering my name, my form, one departs the body. So, such person, madbhavam, he attains my nature, he attains me. Asti na samsayaha. So there is no doubt in this. In this regard, atra na samsayaha asti. There is no doubt in this regard. Dropping the body at the time of death, one who departs and remembers me attain my nature. There is no doubt in this regard. This is what Paramatma said here. So we will see the sloka number 6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. He kaunteya, yam yam va api bhavam smaran ante kalevaram tyajati sada tad bhava bhavitaha saha tam tam eva eti. Kaunteya, O Arjuna, O Kunti Kumara, smaran, thinking of yam yam vapi bhavam, whatever the object one gives up. Tyajati kalevaram, gives up the body, one gives up the body. Ante tam tam eva yeti. So, at the time of death, whatever is the bhavam he keeps, whatever is the thought he keeps in the mind, he reaches to that vastu. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So one attains being always steeped in that thought. O Arjuna, thinking of whatever the object one gives up this body at the time of death, that very object one attains. Being always steeped in that thought. So, if a person is engrossed too much in money, then he will become a moneyed person in the next Janma. If a person remembers Rama at the time of death, he attains Rama. So this is a natural law. Naturally, the question will be, suppose a person does not remember God and remembers something else, what happens? What happens to that person at the time of death? For such a possible question, Krishna Paramatma gives a general reply. What is that reply? The next Janma of that person will depend on the remembrance at the time of death. As the very popular proverb says, as the person thinks, so he becomes. It is very, very powerful law. This law is not only applicable after death, but it is applicable even in this Janma. Yo yat shraddha sayeva saha. Saha yada kamo bhavati tad kratur bhavati. Yat kratur bhavati tad karma kurute. Yat karma kurute tad abhisampadhyate. In Brihadaranyaka there is a mantra supporting this thought. Our Paramarthananda often says a beautiful proverb, which is something similar to this. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habit. Watch your habit, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Therefore, your ultimate destiny is already determined by the type of thoughts you are entertaining. So whatever you are engrossed, whatever you are soaked in, will decide your future janma. So one should be very cautious. If one is very much engrossed in the mundane things, then he will be automatically caught up in the next janma with the same thing. So you should have Ishvara Chintanam. This is a very important alert Bhagavan is giving. So we should practice Ishvara Chintanam when you are alive and kicking. We have a story of Jadabharata, how he had noble intention of pursuing spirituality, but got attracted to a small deer. The deer became so dear to him, and he had to take the janma of a deer. So whatever you meditate upon, you will become one. So this is the very fundamental. And this important lesson Paramatma imparts in this sloka, Kalevaram ante tyajati. Suppose a person drops the physical body at the time of death. How? Yam bhavam smaran. Remembering a particular object in his mind. He will certainly take birth near that object. Or he will take the next janma to achieve that object. So, hey Kaunteya, this is a most important law. Paramatma is alerting. Now, we will have to think what kind of loophole in this law we have. We can while away the entire janma, and at the fag end of the life we remember God and get a good janma, or get mukti for that matter. But for that matter, we do not know when we are going to get death. So at the time of death, it is not easy to remember God. So this kind of manipulation is not possible. Another thing is, a person's thought is based on two forces. One is will of the person, the other is vasana of the person. Our thoughts depends on the free will or depends on the vasana. So, vasana means our habit or samskara, our mental impressions. Now, at any time, the thought that we have in our mind will be decided by one of these two. Sometimes will becomes more dominant, sometimes the vasana becomes dominant, which you can clearly notice when you sit in meditation. You want to utter Rama, Rama, Rama like that, but your vasanas will not allow you to chant Rama. they will make you hover all around the world. So there is always a clash between will and vasana. So you have to remember God's name. Means you have to make it as your strong vasana. That is, the Ishvara Chintanam must go to the subconscious level. When Ishvara Chintanam goes to a subconscious level, then automatically at the time of death, you can remember God's name. See, Mahatma Gandhi, he remembered Rama at the time of death. He uttered, Hey Ram. That was possible because he was uttering throughout his life the name of Rama. Therefore, Paramatma says there is no shortcut. You cannot while away the time and think of my name at the time of death. That is possible only if you remember God's name throughout your life. Sada. So you have to keep on chanting God's name throughout your life. We'll see the 7th sloka. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhya mayyarpita mano buddhihi mame vaishyasya samsayaha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mai arpita manaha buddhihi bhava mam anusmara yudhya evam asamsayam mam eva eshyasi. Tasmat, therefore, anusmara mam, please remember me. When you have to remember, not only at the time of death, that is not possible unless you practice throughout your life. Sarvakaleshu, all the time. Yudhyacha, and fight. This word yudhyacha is very important. We'll discuss this now. Mai arpita manobuddhi, you dedicate your mind and intellect unto me. You fix your mind and intellect unto me. Mameva eshyasi. If you do that, you will attain me. How? Asamsayaha, asamsayam. Asamsayaha. Asamsayaha means doubtlessly. Therefore, remember me all the time and fight with your mind, intellect fixed upon me. You will attain me without any doubt. You will definitely attain me doubtlessly. Therefore, Arjuna, my advice is to you, Sarvakaleshu mam anusmara. May you remember me throughout your life. In your subconscious and saturated mind, may you remember me. In your subconscious mind, may you do the chanting of my name and attributes. Naturally, then the question will be, how can I remember Lord all the time, and how can I do my family duties, office duties? I will have to apply my mind in my duties. If I try to remember God's name and chant God's name, I will lose my job. Especially when you are an accountant, you cannot do two things. You do mistakes. So you lose job if you do not concentrate on your accounting job. So should I become sannyasi, leave all the mundane things? That is what Arjuna wants actually. He doesn't want to fight. So Paramatma adds, Yudhyacha, you also fight. You have to fight and remember my name. So this is a challenge. Therefore, how a person can remember God's name at the same time, he takes up his Swadharma Anushtanam. So, may you follow or fulfill your duties, discharge your duties also. Then next question will be what? How can I do two jobs simultaneously? So the question was, how can I do two jobs simultaneously? The mind can do only one job at a time. The conscious mind cannot do two jobs simultaneously. It can be committed to one thing only. Here, when the conscious mind is dedicated to some work, in the subconscious mind, in the background of your mind, we should be clear about the ultimate priorities of the life. So that Ishvara Chintanam can be in the subconscious mind. Consciously you attend the worldly things, attend to your worldly duties. But in your subconscious mind, do Ishvara Smaranam. So, when you listen to me, are you listening with conscious mind or subconscious mind? With your conscious mind, you listen. But while listening, your mind goes somewhere else. Your mind hovers on many things. So that is subconscious mind. Your ears are listening, but mind is going somewhere. So if that subconscious mind is in God, that is possible when you understand a simple example. A musician, when he performs a program, he listens to the tambura shruti before he starts his program. So the tambura shruti, it gets into his mind. Then when he starts the program, the shruti is, reeling in the mind, in the subconscious mind. So if apashruti comes, you can immediately, notice. He can come back to shruti. So that is the practice. In the same way, another example our Swamiji gives, that is when you are traveling, the train stops at some place and you want to get down and take some water bottle and some tiffin for your people in the compartment. So when you purchase these things, at the back of your mind, it is very clear that you have to catch the train. Any whistle, you are very alert. So any announcement, you are very alert. So this kind of subconscious mind, one must possess. So you are buying, you have taken the change, and you know how much you have to give. The transaction and everything you have done perfectly well. But you have not forgotten that you have to catch the train. So that is reeling in the subconscious mind. So that's what Paramatma is saying. Consciously, you do your duty. In the subconscious mind, keep Ishvara Smaranam. keep Ishvara, keep your top priorities. Mayarpita mano buddhi, may your mind and intellect be committed to me. May your subconscious mind revel in me. That is what Paramatma is saying. So, Mam eva yeshyasi, if you do that, you will definitely attain me. You will definitely reach me. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. He Partha, Abhyasa yoga yuktena na anyagamina chetasa anuchintayan divyam paramam purusham yati. O Partha, O Arjuna, anuchintayan purusham, continuously thinking of Lord, chetasa, with the conscious mind, nanyagamina, undistracted, abhyasa yoga yuktena, due to constant practice of meditation, yati, one attains divyam, the divine supreme Lord. O Arjuna, constantly thinking of the Lord with the mind, constantly thinking of the Lord with the conscious mind that is undistracted due to practice of meditation, one attains divine supreme. So, we have to supply prayana kale, at the time of death. Saguna upasaka anuchintayan remembers the Lord. What type of Lord? Param purusham divyam. The Lord who is the highest reality. The Lord who is known as Purusha. The word Purusha has two meanings. One meaning is Pure Sheti iti Purushaha, one who resides in the heart of everyone, or the indweller of all living beings is the God. The second meaning is Purayati Sarvam iti Purushaha, one who spreads everywhere. Sarvam apnoti iti Atma. Like that, one who is all pervading is God. One who fills up the entire world is God. So, such Purna Purusha, you have to remember at the time of death. Divyam means one who is the Chaitanya Swarupam. So that Lord, a Saguna Upasaka remembers at the time of death. How? Chetasa, with the mind. What type of mind? Abhyasa yoga yuktena, which has a strength of practice and regular exercise. Because the mind is able to do, because of your regular rehearsal. Abhyasa means what? Practice, repetition or rehearsal. Abhyasa yoga means sadhana of abhyasa. Nanyagamina, without any distraction. So, this person becomes one with God because he can easily remember God at the time of death. So, prayana kale, he can remember God's name because he is always reveling in God in subconscious mind. It is easy for him to remember God's name. So he can attain God. That means he will go to the loka of that God and gets the self-knowledge by the God he meditated upon, and by his grace he becomes Jivan Mukta and thereafter Videha Mukta. So these are the steps. In this particular portion, Paramatma is emphasizing Krama Mukti. This Krama Mukti is continuing Saguna Ishvara Upasana throughout the life and keeping Ishvara in subconscious mind, because he meditates throughout the life and remembers God's name in the subconscious mind. He remembers God at the time of death. So when he remembers God at the time of death, he will go to the loka of that God. So Paramatma has put a class, you remember God and also do your duties. Yudhyacha, that is the word he has used. So that Arjuna will not run away from the battlefield. He wants Arjuna to do his Swadharma and also remember the name of the God. So that is why he insisted you have to do your work with a conscious mind, in the subconscious mind, revel in Lord, so that you can remember God's name at the time of death. So this is the idea. More in the next class. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudatyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.